Anything. Okay, hold on here. Okay. Okay, this is take two. What's up, everybody? This is the Trucker Forum. This is Ruben here, 16-year trucker, extraordinary flatbedder, you name it. I think I know everything. And this is my good friend Scootley here, who's been in the trucking industry for many, many years. He's done. What did you do? You explained this, and I hate to ask you to repeat yourself, but
13 years truck driving. I owner operated. I did everything: flatbed, step deck, double drop, temp control, dry box, everything but oversized, basically.
right.
And I even did some hazmat.
Right. And you own your own business. Okay. So here we go. Right. So let's kind of set this up, right? Let's kind of set this up kind of the right way where I'm a company truck driver that I am not the original owner of the truck. In other words, whether I get the truck every day, like say I'm a drop seater, what they call a drop seater, somebody who doesn't, you're not permanently assigned to that truck. So you're constantly, somebody else is driving the truck,
Jump seat.
jump seat. And so somebody else is driving, could most likely will be driving your truck. And so you get pulled into an inspection station and a drug sniffing dog hits on your truck. And it later comes out that there were drugs discovered in a place that is not normal. It's like hidden. It's like in a hidden compartment. It's underneath some stuff. Like the drug sniffing dog found it because it has a nose that's 10,000 times stronger than our noses. And it found it in a place that I would normally never look for in a pre-trip inspection. Now, here's the deal, right? Now, I would still lose my license and go to jail because I can argue and say, it wasn't my drugs. How could I have known that was there? This is a truck that everybody uses, and they're gonna the DOT officer is gonna say, "Do you do a pre-trip inspection?" I go, "Yeah." Well, that's your stuff then. Okay. So what I've been arguing with you back and forth, I don't know if it's arguing. I just been throwing the scenario at you because this popped in my head while I was doing my walking, and I was like, "This is a good topic of conversation for the trucking forum, right?" Where I was arguing that, and and you push back on this, and you made a good point with the whole brake chamber thing, and then we're gonna talk about that too because that's a good kind of
Yeah, I've got a couple of stories we can go through, but yeah.
yeah. So okay,
We don't argue. We don't argue. We're always every day we talk about things, and this is
it's just conversation.
just I come at it from my brain, you come at it from your brain. It's two separate things,
Right.
and it's good conversation. So
Yeah. So my argument is, how can you? I tell you that those were not my drugs in a hidden compartment in a truck that other people use, and I'm going to lose my license probably for 7 years, and I'm going to go on the drug programs. But do I have a lawsuit on my hands because the company didn't certify that that truck was drug free when I got it? Is it their responsibility to somehow make sure that that truck that I'm getting is drug free because those were not my drugs, and or you can't prove that those were my drugs, right? So that's my argument, is you can't prove those are my drugs because it didn't get certified the proper way. How do you certify that a truck is drug free? The only thing that I could think of, and I could be wrong on this, and by the way, too, I'm backwards too, because I'm going like I'm like doing this and I don't even know which way I'm going. But we're talking about being camera reverse. But anyways, so then my argument is, since you can't prove that, you can't certify the truck is drug free via, like, say, a drug sniffing dog, then how come I'm liable for that hidden drugs that was found in my truck that other people drive?
and my pushback is that a company that has a fleet of trucks, they also don't have a certification that your truck is DOT compliant. That's why we have a pre-trip, and that puts all the responsibility on the driver, regardless. And I had a situation happen to me in Texas. I got pulled into a random DOT stop with a double drop,
Yeah.
which is hard for my big butt to get under. But the officer pinpointed an air leak in the brake lines on the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm sitting with my truck fully charged and the key off and I put my foot on the brake, you hear the braking system and you listen for an audible leak.
Right.
This was not a leak that I could hear from my driver's seat.
Right.
It was very minuscule, and my air pressure gauge didn't drop. Right.
Okay.
So then I go back there to look at what he's talking about, and I really didn't get a straight answer as to where it's coming from or what it was. But the bottom line is I just picked that trailer up that morning. I did a pre-trip, and I'm responsible.
Right. So my argument is that these two kind of scenarios are kind of apples and oranges, right? My argument is like you're right, and this has happened to me too. But we just talked about this. That's why I was like, this will be a good topic for the truck. Well, you said this is gonna be a good topic for the trucker forum. You're right. So this has happened
Yeah.
to me too, right? And what happened when I got my DOT inspection, I was in the bay where you can actually walk underneath the truck. So because that's like an old trick that DOT uses. They say, "Oh, you have a small air leak," and then this is how they don't want to give you a clear inspection because it makes the numbers look weird, right? Like this is what we all kind of complain about as truckers. This is like the weird part of trucking.
Well,
So
you also brought up the point though that it's the driver's opportunity to push back.
yeah, and then
You know,
sometimes, no, go ahead, go ahead.
well, it's our opportunity to push back when they raise a flag, and actually ask the officer, can you show me where the air leak is at? You put your finger on it, hear the audible difference.
Yeah.
You can feel the air coming out of the line, things of that nature.
Well, and then here's the thing, right? So that DOT officer can say you have an air leak, and you can go ask to go hear it, and you could not hear it. It's possible. People can do that where you can be like, I can't hear what you're hearing. He's like, oh, it's there. Well, I can't hear it. So then my thing, and that did happen to me too, by the way, where I go, I don't hear it. And so the guy, the DOT officer, he let me go underneath in the bay, in the inspection bay, and he fucking had somebody pump the brakes so I can hear it. He was not happy with it, and they kind of get like in a fucking perturbed attitude, like they get upset because you just want to verify, and I said, I just want to see it. It's a newer trailer, you know. Can I touch it? Can I do it? Yeah, sure. And he was not happy that I did that, and the inspection, it went south a little bit, and that's what happens, right? Like they get questioned, and the pushback leads to sometimes other kind of weird scenarios of inspections that they go through, right? But
Well,
look,
yeah, because like you always say, when you're in the middle of a DOT inspection, you have an opportunity to either be an ass or be nice.
yeah,
And if you're nice, um, it generally goes in a favorable direction.
yeah, 100%.
And a lot of people wouldn't think that just asking that simple question would be an asshole thing, because I mean, literally, you're trying to stick up for yourself. Like, show me. You're
Yeah,
not trying to be a dick, but depending on that officer's day, it can come off as you being a dick.
yeah, 100%. And so that scenario happened to me. The guy ended up being cool about it, and but he showed me the leak, and it was in fact there. Now, I argue that those are two different things. Those are two different kind of scenarios, but they're kind of related. And the reason why I say we bring this up, this is a good point, because this is kind of the gray area of trucking that we work under, right? This is the uncertainty of trucking. So if a truck has drugs in it that you don't, because you're right about the pre-trip. If a pre-trip means that you've inspected that truck and it's roadworthy, and if anything goes wrong with it, it's on you because you are responsible to inspect the safe that it's safe to be on the road, right? That's why whenever you start with a company, they first thing they do to you is tell you to pre-trip the truck. Number one, it takes the responsibility off of their hands for giving you a piece of junk, right? But if you don't do a thorough pre-trip at the very beginning and you drive that truck, the company understands, and it's kind of not their fault. It is, but it isn't. The company has the now understanding because you did a pre-trip that that truck is roadworthy, so it could go make money. And so the question is, during the course of a normal pre-trip, is it expect? So I gave the example, if there were drugs behind the front plate of a trailer where the glad hands connect to, there's always an access plate that screws off. It's just four bolts. And so during the normal course of a pre-trip, you're not gonna unscrew those bolts to inspect inside there to see if everything's okay. You may do that in a
You're
periodic
not going to
inspection.
get a lot. You're not going to get a lot in there,
You're
but
not
it
gonna get
is
on in there.
it's possible.
Hey, you might be able to get enough to make a couple bucks. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, you might be able to get something in there. You don't know that, you know? We're assuming, right? But anyways, the point that I'm trying to get to is during the normal course of an inspection, a pre-trip inspection that every driver's supposed to do on a daily basis, every time they operate the truck, um, drugs could be hidden there. And I'm not saying that they're the people's or they are the person's, but is it a valid claim that I should not be held responsible for that because the company cannot prove that those drugs were not in there before I took over the truck? Because something that would be like a certified thing where like a dog sniffing, a drug sniffing dog that has a license, and the person that has a license, and they can say that, they can say that they ran the dog through the truck and they didn't sniff anything. Okay, that's a different story then. But that doesn't happen in the trucking industry at all. And so then the question is, if the drug sniffing dog is the gold standard, then how do you prove to me as a company that you gave me a truck that did not have drugs in it?
And that's the question, right?
That's the question.
So, on a sidebar, I got a funny story I will share
Okay,
with you out of Denver
go ahead.
because I'm all about my stories, but I'm pretty sure we talked about this in the past and it might spark some memories in your brain.
Okay.
But I'm at a customer in Denver
Okay.
and I'm parked outside because I have to spend the night in their parking lot.
Okay.
So I'm outside getting my tarp ready to pull in the morning, right?
Yeah.
I see an unsmoked joint laying by the trash bin next to my truck. It's rolled, it hasn't been lit, it's a whole joint. And just to make sure, because I'm not like a Christian, if I touch something illegal, I'm not going to burn, right? I pick it up to look at it and
Okay.
smell it.
Oh,
I want to smell it and see if it's what I think it is, right? It comes out of my fat little fingers and falls inside my trailer. And on our on our trailers, we had, if you can imagine, diamond plate
yeah.
steps
Mm-hmm.
with the diamonds cut out, and it's all welded to the deck. It goes inside the hole of the diamond plate, a whole joint, lands flat on the deck underneath the step. How am I going to get this out now? And it's all my fault. Now I'm stuck with a trailer that's got a joint in it. What am I going to do? I did manage to get it out, but I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in Colorado, and I think the most I've ever been DOT'd was in Colorado when I was driving.
Well, look at this, right? Okay, so this is funny you say this, right? Because I had this argument too before, right? Okay, so in states where marijuana is legal, Colorado, it's recreational legal, California, it's recreational illegal, right? So if I walk into a truck stop where the employees smell so much like weed because they're not going to jail, it's not illegal for them, they might not be high, but is it possible for me to get some secondhand whiff of that and go to jail for that?
Because they've stepped aside from the urine test and they do hair testing, hair follicle tests.
Right.
So I don't know how much in a room you got to be with that stuff to test positive in your hair.
Right.
Because even though I have lab coats, I'm not a scientist. But
Okay, we got lab coats too, and we will be doing an episode with the lab coats. Trust me, this is the tip of the iceberg. But anyways, so okay, so then there's that argument, right? Chances of it happening very unlikely, right? There's got to be so much secondhand smoke. I would assume that truck stops in California and places where marijuana is legal, I'm gonna assume that they're gonna be strict on that policy since there is no exemption for trucking. For the CDL truck driver, there's no. I'm in California, so it's okay. Yeah, you can smoke weed and won't go to jail, but you cannot drive a truck. That's just the way it works, right?
and I will say this: since I've been off the road,
Hmm.
I have had more encounters with smelling pot in the past year that I've been off the road than my 13 years on the road.
What is it?
That's crazy to me.
That is crazy. That is great. Well, it's becoming more accepted, right? But you
Yeah,
know, so these are kind of the gray areas. Like could somebody, and you brought up the scenario, and I'm making this video because I would never do this, but like, could somebody plant drugs in a mega carrier truck?
I think they've been busted for
Wait,
it
wait a minute.
recently,
Wait a
and the
minute.
driver went down.
Could a driver plant drugs in a mega carrier truck where the truck is used and get popped purposely and lose their license and get put in the drug program? And basically, could they sue the carrier because they couldn't certify that that truck was drug free when they got assigned it?
Yeah,
See,
and that's what I was saying. I think at that point you're looking at, can you afford to go to court against a major carrier?
well, and then here's the thing: the minute that one person wins that, every single company truck, you're liable. So in other
Yeah.
words, it's the get out of jail free card, even though you lose your license, but the insured, like, so they have to develop a program for that because you can't even sign a waiver. So in other words, like, how can I do a pre-trip and take apart the truck where there's hidden drugs, and how unless a drug sniffing dog walks by a drug sniffing dog, a
Yeah.
what did I say?
Every carrier has to hire a drug sniffing dog to do a round every morning before a driver gets in the
Am
truck.
I saying that wrong? I can't fucking. I've said it 15 different ways to you, right? This is the abuse I give to Scootley. He's putting together these sentences that I'm making, and they're not making sense. I think I said drug sniffing dog. I said drug detecting
Dog
dog.
sniffing dog.
Yeah, dog sniffing dog. A sniffing dog sniffing. I think I've said it 50 different ways, and he's like, "Do you mean like?" He already knows what I mean because he knows that I have a touch of the downy, right?
I speak Reuben.
Yeah. He speaks Ruben, right? And I claim to speak Scootley. In the background, look, I've been looking at the chihuahuas in the background moving.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
It
see,
was back
look,
there cleaning itself. My fish are back here.
well, okay, but wait a minute. The reason why the chihuahuas in the background is because I had to one up you because I can't compete with your setup right there. You have fish that follow you. I at least got to have a chihuahua that at least is my buddy, right?
Yeah,
So,
I thought about putting the video up of the voodoo that I pulled on the tank
oh
line.
yeah, don't do it, dude,
Um,
because it's gonna
but
your algorithm.
this is our opportunity to plug saltwater and chill. Right?
100%. He has a channel. Scootley has a channel on YouTube where he does a live stream. If you want relaxing, chill, a screen where you could do this at work because there's no music, there's no nothing. It's a continuous feed. He does it for like 20 hours at a time. He uses all
It's
the gigabits of
always
all.
as often as I can let it. It's
Yeah,
on a live stream, so you can pull it up on YouTube,
yeah,
saltwater and chill on all social medias,
yeah. And
and
his
it's live on YouTube every day.
and just for the record, he's getting sued by his town because he's using all the gigabytes. All the
All the
gigabytes is
gigabytes,
town. All the
all the
gigabytes.
water,
All
all
the
the salt,
water.
it's all
All
going
the.
down.
He's using so much data. He's using so much data that the lotto machine at the liquor store it's bogged down because it can't transmit the lotto numbers over the air. But
Hey,
no,
they're forced to try to run illegal drugs in trucks because I'm taking away all the source.
all the megabytes are gone from the town. Okay, but it's going to be in the description, and it's a relaxing thing. Sometimes a person like me will get in the chat section and we'll start having a good time, and it's really cool.
And there's no audio or anything, so you can
Yeah,
just turn it on and leave it.
it's safe for work, safe for your house. If you're a fish enthusiast, he has some really cool fish that are for I don't know how he has all these different colors. It's crazy. Yeah.
The whole community.
It's a whole community. He's an avid would you call that? Aquarium person? What would
Aquarius, I think. Maybe. I
aquarium?
may have
You
just
made
made a
it.
word up. I'm
You made
not sure.
you fucking made that up. Aquarist? Okay. All right, okay, we're
Aquarius.
gonna end this. Anyways, what are your guys' thoughts on this? This is a good topic of conversation. This